बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। आज के इस लेक्चर में हम डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं इंग्लिश लेक्चरशिप इंटरव्यू से रिलेटेड कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस। 150 एमसीक्यू 150 क्वेश्चंस तक हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं। नेक्स्ट हमारा 151। सो फर्स्ट वन इज़ थीम ऑफ ओड ऑन अ ग्रेशन अर्न। ओड ऑन अ ग्रेशन अर्न जो कि एक पोएम थी जिसे लिखा था जॉन कीट्स ने, उसकी जो थीम्स हैं वो कौन कौन से थीम्स हैं। उसमें ब्यूटी एंड ट्रूथ का थीम आता है। उसमें कीट्स एक्सप्लोर करता है ब्यूटी और ट्रूथ के दरमियान जो रिलेशनशिप है उससे, और सजेस्ट करते हैं दैट ब्यूटी इज़ अ मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ ट्रूथ। ट्रांस साइंस एंड मोर्टेलिटी का थीम है। द पोएम मेडिटेट्स ऑन द फ्लीटिंग नेचर ऑफ ह्यूमन लाइफ एंड द परमानेंस ऑफ आर्ट। लव एंड डिज़ायर दिखाई गई है जहाँ पे लवर्स की डिपिक्शन उसने की अर्न के ऊपर। स्पीकर की जो ऑन लॉन्गिंग है फॉर द अर्न्स ब्यूटी इलस्ट्रेट द पावर ऑफ लव एंड डिज़ायर। टाइम एंड इम्परमानेंस है। पोएम जो है वो कंट्रास्ट करती है द अर्न्स टाइमलेस ब्यूटी विद द ट्रांसाइंस ऑफ ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस। आर्ट और रियलिटी दिखाया गया। कीट्स जो है वो एक्सप्लोर करता है रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन आर्ट एंड रियलिटी को, सजेस्टिंग दैट आर्ट कैन कैप्चर एंड प्रिजर्व मोमेंट्स इन टाइम। मेलनकली एंड लॉन्गिंग दिखाया गया। इसमें स्पीकर्स की जो टोन है वो मेलनकॉलिक है, रिफ्लेक्टिंग ऑन वट इज़ लॉस्ट एंड वट कैन नेवर बी अटेन्ड। ह्यूमन कंडीशन दिखाई गई। पोएम जो है एक्सप्लोर करती है फंडामेंटल ह्यूमन कंसर्न्स को, लव, ब्यूटी, मोर्टेलिटी एंड द सर्च फॉर मीनिंग। Ode basically is a meditation on the human experience, encouraging readers to appreciate beauty, confront mortality, and find solace in our ability to capture and preserve moments in time. So the next question is, why does Keats feel ache in a heart in Ode to a Nightingale? Keats actually ode to writing Ode to a Nightingale, Keats feel ache in a heartache वो feel करता है। That why does he feel that ache? So in Ode to Nightingale, John Keats, जो basically is a speaker, he feels an ache in his heart for several reasons, including first of all that is longing for transcendence. The speaker yearns to escape the suffering and mortality of human life. He wants to escape from that situation and join the nightingale in its carefree, beautiful song. Next reason is melancholy and despair. The speaker is overwhelmed by the sorrows and pains of life, feeling helpless and trapped in a world where beauty is fleeting. Beauty's elusive nature. Speaker is actually frustrated by the transience of beauty and the impossibility of fully capturing or retaining it. Mortality and impermanence दिखाया गया. The speaker is deeply aware of the passing of life and the inevitability of death. The allure of death दिखाया गया. So the next question is, how does Keats use theme of death in Ode to a Nightingale? आप में से जो लोग चैनल पर न्यू हैं, जिन्होंने अभी तक इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया, काइंडली डू सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल एंड like the video, share with others. Thank you. So the next is, how does Keats use theme of death in Ode to a Nightingale? Ode to a Nightingale जो पोइम है उसमें Keats जो है थीम ऑफ डेथ को जो है किस तरह से वो यूज़ करता है. So he uses the theme of death to explore the transience of life and beauty, to express a desire to escape mortal suffering and join the nightingale in its eternal song. Contrast the fleeting nature of human life with its carefree immortal existence. Contemplate the allure of death as a means to reunite with beauty and tranquility, and ultimately affirm the value of life and the beauty that can be experienced in the present moment. So the next question is, any non-English short story writer. Non-English, if we talk about the non-English short story writer, there are many short story writers that are non-English. Yes, so few notable non-English short story writers are Anton Chekhov, he was a Russian short story writer, and Gardy Mopsant, he was a French, and Luigi Pirandello, he was Italian, and George Louis Borges, he was Spanish. Franz Kafka, German. Isaac Bashevis, singer. Yiddish, Yasunari Kawatba, Japanese. So the next, there are some other, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Elias Munro, and Sadat Hassan Mantu, Urdu. So the next question is, what is existentialism? Existentialism, basically it was a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom and choice and the inherent meaninglessness of life, and it asserts that humans must create their own meaning and purpose, as there is no inherent or objective meaning given by God, religion or a higher power. Existentialist philosophy जो है basically एक्सप्लोर करती है often themes such as freedom and responsibility की themes और absurdity of human existence. Existentialism को theatre of absurd के साथ भी associate किया जाता है. The individual subjective experience, the importance of living in the present moment, the inevitability of death and the impermanence of ह्यूमन एग्जिस्टेंस। तो कुछ की एग्जिस्टेंशलिस्ट फिलासफर्स इंक्लूड है इसमें, जिनमें फर्स्ट वन है जीन पाल सरटायर एंड मार्टिन हिडगर, एल्बर्ट कैमस, गैब्रियल मार्शल, कार्ल जैस्पर्स. So the next question is Elif Shafak now lives in Elif Shafak. Basically, she was a very good writer, and she wrote a novel book like 40 Rules of Love, the very great book, and I have made a video on that book. I have uploaded on my channel, so you can watch. So, Elif Shafak lives in London and having moved there in 2013. Although she resides in London, वो अब जो है लंदन में रहती हैं. शी स्टिल, जबकि उनका जो ताल्लुक़ है बेसिकली वो टर्की से है. शी स्टिल कैरीज द स्पिरिट ऑफ इस्तांबुल, हर प्रीवियस होम टाउन. विद हर शफक इज़ एन acclaimed Turkish British novelist, essayist, public speaker, political scientist and human rights activist, known for her works that explore the intersection of Eastern and Western cultures. चैनल को लाजमी सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा, साथ ही बेल आइकन को भी प्रेस कर लें ताकि हर नई आने वाली वीडियो आप तक पहुंच सके. सो द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज़ एलिफ शफक बेसिकली बिलोंग्स टू. मैंने भी आपको थोड़ी देर पहले ही पिछले क्वेश्चन में, प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन में डिस्कस किया है कि एलिफ शफक बेसिकली बिलोंग करती हैं टर्की से. एंड ऑल्दो शी करंटली रिसाइड्स इन लंडन, शी इज़ अ टर्किश ब्रिटिश नॉवलिस्ट, एसेइस्ट, पब्लिक स्पीकर, पॉलिटिकल साइंटिस्ट एंड ह्यूमन राइट्स एक्टिविस्ट. हर वर्क्स इंक्लूड द 40 Rules of Love. दैट इज़ अ वेरी great book and I have made video on it. I have made a lecture, very beautiful lecture. And the Bastard of Istanbul, that is her another work. Her writing often explores ordinary lives and spirituality, and she is drawn to Sufism and the connections between people of different religious backgrounds. So the next question is, what is the theme of the poem Nothing Gold Can Stay? As all of you know that Nothing Gold Can Stay is a poem that was written by Robert Frost, American poet. He's the fleeting nature of beauty and the inevitability of loss. And the poem explores how things that are precious and beautiful are short-lived and cannot last forever. The title itself suggests that anything valuable and lovely will eventually fade away. In short, the theme can be summarized as impermanence of beauty, transience of life, inevitability of loss, fleeting nature of joy, the passage of time, and its effects on life. Next question is, you two Brutus are words spoken by. The words you two Brutus are attributed to Julius Caesar and are said to have been spoken as he was being stabbed to death by his friend Brutus and other conspirators in the Roman Senate on the ideas of March. According to the legend, Caesar uttered these words in shock. उसने सदमे में ये words बोले, and disbelief that his own friend Brutus was among those betraying him, signifying the ultimate betrayal. So the next question is, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars but in ourselves, that we are underlings. These words are spoken by. ये जो words हैं basically ये Cassius, एक nobleman जो है, spoke these words in Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, and he says this to persuade Brutus to join him in overthrowing Julius Caesar and removing him from power. Cassius is arguing that the problem is not fate being against them but rather their own lack of action. Next question is, Hedda Gabler is afraid of. Hedda Gabler basically is always afraid of society. Yes, Hedda Gabler is afraid of society's judgment, conventions, and expectations, which she feels are suffocating her individuality and freedom. And she always wants to influence others. She fears being trapped and labeled as a conventional bourgeois wife, and this fear drives her actions and decisions throughout the play. Next question is, the cherry orchard represents. Cherry orchard जो है basically ये एंटन चेकअप ने लिखा है, तो ये रिप्रेजेंट करता है ब्यूटी को. द ब्लूमिंग चेरी ट्रीज आर अ सिंबल ऑफ ब्यूटी बट दे आल्सो हैव अ रैपिड डिके एज देयर ब्लूम्स ओनली लास्ट फॉर अ शॉर्ट पीरियड. ट्रेडिशन को सिम्बलाइज करता है, जो ऑर्चर्ड जो है वो सिम्बलाइज करता है ट्रेडिशन को, और फैमिलीज़ के जो एंसेस्ट्रल होम है उसे चेंज को सिम्बलाइज करता है. द कटिंग डाउन ऑफ द चेरी ऑर्चर्ड इज़ समथिंग दैट इज़ कॉन्स्टेंटली लूमिंग ओवर द रेनेव्स्की फैमिली एंड रिप्रेजेंट्स चेंज इन देयर लाइफ्स. द पास्ट को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, फैमिली की जो मेमोरीज हैं उसके साथ जुड़ी हैं, आइडेंटिटी को रिप्रेजेंट करता है. द कैरेक्टर्स डिफरिंग व्यूज़ अबाउट द फेट ऑफ द चेरी ऑर्चर्ड प्रेजेंट देयर opposing views of traditional upper and lower classes during the historical period of social change. The next question is, the Crucible is set in which time period? The Crucible is a play that was written by Arthur Miller is set in 1692 during the Salem witch trials. The play written by Arthur Miller is an allegory for McCarthyism. And when the United States government persecuted people accused of being communists in the 1950s. However, the play is best understood in the context of intolerance, hysteria, and how these two factors can destroy a community. So the next question is the title the crucible means. The title crucible basically refers to is a vessel. Crucible is a vessel container used to melt and purify metals, symbolizing the intense heat and pressure of the witch trials, where people's characters are tested and purified. Crucible जो है basically also means where trial or test, which fits the theme of the play, where characters face intense scrutiny, accusation, and judgment. Additionally, a crucible can represent a transformative process where impurities are burned away and something new is forged, reflecting the play's exploration of how individuals and society are transformed by the trials. So overall, if we talk about the crucible's title, that captures the intense, transformative, and purifying nature of the Salem witch trials and the play's themes of testing, judgment, and transformation. Next question है हमारे पास, that is The Happy Prince was written by. The Happy Prince basically is a short story that was written by Oscar Wilde, and that was written in 1888. It is a story included in the collection of The Happy Prince and Other Tales. That is a series of stories for children that also includes The Nightingale and the Rose, The Selfish Giant, The Devoted Friend, and The Remarkable Crockett. I hope it's clear to all of you. Thank you very much. आज की वीडियो में इतना ही. चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिएगा, वीडियो अच्छी लगे तो लाइक कीजिएगा और सबसे शेयर कीजिएगा. अल्लाह हाफिज़.